Hello everyone. I am going to do a review today of the Dreamkeeper's Tarot. I've been promising this for a while. I'm really excited about this deck. It's a newer deck that it came out in 2021. Originally this was an indie deck. Liz Huston is the artist, and she is really an interesting artist. If you, I'm an artist myself, so I like to kind of, if I'm drawn to the deck, I really connect with the artwork and the visual elements of it because I'm very much an intuitive reader. She's really cool. She's sort of like a strong woman of the 80s and 90s. She's kind of got a goth, punk rock kind of vibe about her. Her artwork is absolutely beautiful. She is a self-taught artist from LA, and she likes to travel a lot. And the deck I was reading took her about over 10 years to produce because, you know, all of these are really large art pieces, and they're absolutely amazing. She found, which I thought was really interesting later, she found the artwork of Frida Kahlo and Remedios Varo and Lenora Carrington, which ironically enough are some of my absolute favorite artists. So it made total sense because, like, I was in the store one day and Melissa's like, "Here, Holly, you need to look at this deck." And I just was like, oh my gosh, I love this so much. And it really connected with me. And like I said, I'm a very visual, intuitive reader, so it really spoke to me. And the more that I looked at it, the more I knew this was a deck for me, most definitely. It has a very, because she said, I was reading an interview with her, and she said that it really, when she saw the artwork of Kahlo and, you know, Carrington and Varro, she finally like felt like, hey, like, these are my kind of people, these are my kind of women. And so because they're all surrealist painters and very feminist pieces, and they're just absolutely gorgeous. Her pieces, I think, too, have a lot of the background of like the sort of goth sort of vibe, where a lot of the artwork is a little dark. It's kind of based in some Victorian sort of nuances as well, which I think is really interesting. Then, you know, being called the Dreamkeeper's Tarot is so right on, because it is not in any way a realistic deck. It is totally like being in someone's dream. And the more I look at them, the more I see in readings. And I'm really excited about this deck. I think you're gonna love it. I just wanted to show you a few of the pieces. I've already shown you some of the cards on the TikTok that I did a while back. It does come with a really beautiful guidebook as well. I know that some of you want to just throw it out, but this one is interesting, and I think that you should definitely take a look at it because it has so much of the artist's heart and soul in it. It's based on the Rider-Waite deck, but it's like you're getting a part of her dream as well, and then you just, like, whatever you see is what you bring to the reading. But I think it's really worthwhile the look. And it's it has the reverse meanings, the divinatory meaning, and a little bit of the background and what she actually was, seeing as she created the imagery of the pieces. So I'm going to show you a few of the major arcana. Again, the back of the card's very, sort of Victorian in nature, very kind of subdued grays. The Fool is such an interesting card to me. Usually you see a lot of the imagery of a young man sort of, kind of jaunting along and kind of falling off a mountain as he goes. But this one is interesting. It's a woman, and if you look at this card, you'll see that she's on a checkerboard, which sort of it has that sort of yin and yang, the opposites, and she's stepping over men, which is really, really interesting. So I think this card has a lot to do with new beginnings, and obviously, she's one of her foot is actually on top of a man with a top hat, and so I think there's a lot in there in regards to learning from the past and maybe, you know, moving on, you know, but I definitely think that this does have a relationship kind of a vibe to it as well. Beautiful card. The this is usually the Magician card, and I really, really, really connect with this because this is called the Creatrix card, which to me, in my own personal, you know, belief system, this really speaks to me. It's very much taken in, I feel like this is a spirit card. I see like there's a lot of like spirit guide messages in this, and a lot of threes. You'll see this in her artwork as well. But this is a, to me, this is a very powerful card. And the High Priestess, I think this is probably her favorite painting. I just get this vibe from her. But this is a really, really interesting card because it's like she is the protectress, the keeper of magic, and she is, you see she has sort of spider, there's like sort of spidery tendrils on her back, and then she has horns, and she's a keeper of the light. It's a beautiful card. The more that, you know, like I said, this is a deck that you have to spend some time with, and really, as you read, you just see more and more and more, and it's really, really a beautiful, beautiful deck. This one, the Empress, is really a beautiful card as well. You can see that. Very ethereal. Again, a lot of feminine energy in this one as well. Then the Emperor. It's interesting because a lot of the men are very, in this deck, you see sort of logical power, and I feel like a lot of the you know, sort of powerful feminine divine, there's a lot more spirit in the cards. I don't know if that was just subconsciously part of her creative process, but you definitely get that sort of power, you know, like a subdued power from some of the, like the King cards, and so yeah, take a look at that. This one is absolutely one of my favorites. I love this card. This is, of course, the Hierophant, and I don't know, can you see that? It's just so unbelievably beautiful. It's like you see her staff, and she's in the forest. There are three aspects. It's sort of like that archetypical maid, mother, and crone aspect, where she is, you know, she is the seeker. She is the giver of knowledge, of the magic of that we all keep inside of us, and that we, you know, find on our journeys. It's an absolutely gorgeous card, very Victorian. She's a badass, man. Look at her. Very powerful card. I just really, really love this card a lot. The Lover card is really interesting as well. I think I love that this reminds me so much of a Remedios Varo's work, where it's sort of like you have this interior, like you can just see the interior of the persons and the personas, like the mask that we all wear, and the personas of the two. The bird symbolic of, you know, inner spirit and the different types of love, I think. Again, a lot going on in these cards. The Chariot, it's a really interesting card as well. Again, I see it's really a powerful, there are opposites in this card as well. Again, I think more feminine than you usually see in a Chariot card. The next one is one of my absolute favorites as well, and this is the Strength card. A lot of times you'll see like, I don't know, lions and sort of masculine imagery, but this is just neat. I'm hoping you can see this, but this woman is, it looks on first like a first look like, oh my gosh, she's in really, she's in a lot of trouble, and yet she's surrounded by this, serpent, and yet if you really look at the card, you'll notice that she's, her dress is white, and it's sort of like stitched together in this very like sort of rough manner, and yet you'll see, if you really continue to look at this card, you'll see this inner strength coming more so than this masculine like outward strength, and all of these tendrils coming out. I feel like it's growth, that determination, and all of the things that are, sort of, the spiritual nature of the Strength card, and it's just, it's a beauty for sure. If we continue with the Hermit, again, oftentimes you see it in a male card. This is interesting. It's also, to me, it's more spiritual and not being locked up in like physical, but really sort of, to me, this was a spiritual reflection, and not an isolation in a negative way. If you see that, she's in the sort of in the clouds, in the spirit, and there's a reflection. Again, so much going on. This one is really interesting too. The Fates, again, this reminds me of Carrion. This reminds me of the other surrealist paintings. Very, very strong card. Again, the three Fates, the three. If you see I think the color choices are really beautiful. I think they're very. It's just like so intuitive. Do you know what I mean? Like you get it. Justice, again, I love this card. The faceless woman, the choices. Again, the use of color. Very dreamlike, very strong. Again, this is probably right up there with my, third favorite cards. The Hanged Woman, usually the Hanged Man. I love this card. I love the color choices. I love that she's just by a little tiny web, she's hanging from this branch, and you can see that she's casting off almost like a veil or a shawl. She's casting a web, and so to me, when I think of like the archetypes of that, I think of Arachne, and I think of definitely like spinning your own fate and sort of giving into the universe, giving into what's coming. But it's a delicate yet spiritually strong card, and to me, this is one of the most I don't know, just right on visual depictions of the hanged person card. So I really connect with this one as well. Then we have, again, the Death card is not what I expected as well. It's a very spiritual card. Transformation, new beginnings, all of these things. Temperance, this is beautiful. The pieces that come together. This is interesting too, because I don't know if it's my background, my family background, I don't know what, but I'm always a little, I'll be honest with you, I'm always like, I say I'm not, but I am, I'll be honest. The Devil card always like sort of like freaks me out depending on the depiction of the card, and a lot of times it's really like sort of dark, and some of them just, I feel like they really play on this card. This one, I really love, and it makes so much sense to me, because the Devil card is, to me, more about allowing yourself to be taken in. Do you know what I mean? Allowing yourself, and look at, he's whispering in her ear, but look at her face. She's so unbelievably, she's got this just coy little smile on her face, and I feel like that's so much a part of the actual sense of this card. And so wonderful, wonderful depiction of, I really love this. The Tower is interesting too, because I think that the Tower is so often, you know, we're, you know, something hits us and it's not necessarily maybe a bus, you know, it's not necessarily in the physical plane. A lot of times it's a spiritual event. And so I think, again, this card really speaks to me because it is very much, you can see it, it's very much an interior card, I think. Do you know what I mean? And then the star, this is, of course, the imagery that's on the front of the Dreamkeepers, and I think that this, the star, this has a lot to do as well, I think, with healing. I think she's put a lot of that energy into this card. Trying to make sure you guys can see this. There's a bit of a glare. The Moon card is really, really beautiful as well. It's an interesting depiction. I wasn't too sure at first. It took me a minute. Like, I had to really look at this. But if you see, the colors are just really, really beautiful. But you see that there's sort of like she's holding the moon in her hand. It's very skeletal, which is really, really interesting. Yeah, this is a beautiful card as well. And we have the Sun. Okay. That. And then the Judgment card is really beautiful. It's sort of like, you know, making a decision, and you're not going to be the same from this. And I feel like if you see that card, it's very surreal, but it's very, you know, she's sort of like the visual element. It's really strong element. It's a moving away. It's an acceptance. And there's a sadness to this card, but it's a determined card as well. It's so strange that I get that from the, you know, the use of color, and it's a beautiful card as well. And then, of course, the last card, the World, which is really, really, I can get that, yeah, beautiful as well. So I'm not going to go through the rest because I think that you know, you have to see these in person. They're just so beautiful. And if you are an artistic soul, if you, you know, read visually like I do, I think that that these have a very, very, they have a feminine energy, but they also have just a very, very strong kick butt vibe as well. They're beautiful, they're dreamlike, the artwork is impeccable. The energy was just like, I could feel them from a mile away. They just spoke to me. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was helpful. I also recommend, if you like her work, come into Goddess Elite, check it out. She also has an she has an Instagram that is really neat. She also puts up like specific Dreamkeeper tarot spreads, which are really cool. You know, solstice, equinox spreads. And I think that you will just absolutely love her work. absolutely fell in love with her. So I hope you enjoyed this. I will be back, I hope, soon to take a look at some other decks. I was going through all of my decks and oracles, and I realized, oh my god, I have a lot of oracles as well. So I'm thinking that my next one might be, give you a sneak peek, but I picked this up I've been looking at this for a long time, but it's the Tarot of the Mystical Moments, and I feel like it has a similar kind of surrealistic feminine vibe, so to the Dreamkeeper's Tarot. So I do believe that this will be next up. So I look forward to seeing everyone at the store, and if you have any questions, if you want to see anything between all of the readers and friends of Goddess Elite, I assure you we probably have it. So, you know, let us know what you want to see. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.